We had a convo during lunch, and just FYI, I'm still human, so I still have crazy, weird, limiting belief thoughts. And my limiting belief is that I have taught so much on sales and marketing that like nobody even really like needs to hear anything, because it's just like at this point it's just like, to me, I'm like, I've said it 1,000 times. What else can I fucking say? And they were like, yeah, but every single time you say it, it's like something different and it's hits a different angle. And then somehow both of them were like, yeah, because when it comes to coaching, like I can coach anybody. And that thing you said the other day about the fact that we need to be able to, like, if we don't know sales, we'll be the greatest coach that no one's ever heard of. And I was like, well, really what needs to happen is you need to get to the point in your business where the same level of confidence you have to coach someone is the same level of confidence you have to sell someone. And that's kind of, like one of the promises of like the master coach is like, whether you get it or not, if you do the training, we want to get you to the point where you can step into any room, anywhere, anytime and coach. And they were like, yeah, I can do, like, I can coach and just give me someone, I will coach them. And I was like, I feel the same way about sales. I'm like, put me in a room with anybody, anywhere, anytime, any level, don't give a fuck. Like, I can sell that person. And the reality is, until you have that duality, your business will always struggle, even if you're the greatest coach in the world, right? So let's just start off with this fun question that just came up in my head. Why is it harder to sell than it is to coach?
You're probably making it about yourself.
Oh, Elizabeth said, because you're probably making it about yourself. Some good awareness there.
Or you're looking for something in return.
You're looking for something in return? So there's like an expectation?
I think it's all your limiting beliefs, right? That really is what it comes
Yeah.
down to.
Yeah. When you're selling, you feel like your head voice is like going crazy.
You had a question last year at our graduations, like what if you charged $5,000 a session? And my limiting belief is still there. That how do I deliver that? And you're like, but the I isn't there. And I still have a hard time taking the I out.
So, what if I told you that the greatest sales mechanism that exists is everything you've already learned about coaching? And what if I told you that for me, sales isn't about what I bring to the table or what I have to offer. It's about being good enough to listen, just like a coach, to listen to what they're saying. Like, at the end of the day, like, let's have a fake sales conversation real quick. Okay? Elizabeth, what's your biggest goal in your business right now? Notice that was the first question. Write that down.
To the biggest goal right now.
Yeah, you can be honest. Like, this is a pretend sales conversation, but I want you to like actually
To earn back all the money that I call my student loan debt that I have spent over the last year to get to the point where I am.
so you want to make more money.
Yes.
Can you give me like a tangible on that? This is just coaching, right?
It's a lot.
No, it's fine. It's like, it's just give me a number.
I'm going to throw out the number of 30.
30,000 or just $30?
We'll call it $30.
30,000. Let's just say 30,000. You want to make in a perfect scenario, you over the next how long? Let's just make up it. Doesn't matter.
We just did a goal saying 90 days.
Okay, over the next 90 days, you want to make $30,000. I love that. That's such an incredible goal. Notice I'm still coaching, guys. I'm not selling right now, am I? So let me ask you this. What do you think is the biggest thing that is standing in between you and getting that $30,000?
I mean, at this place where I am right now, I would definitely attribute it to self-doubt.
Self-doubt.
Of not, like, can I actually do that?
Yeah, I get it. Now, instead of going into a push method, I go into the pitch. So let me ask you this, but notice how it's going to still be coaching. It's going to still sound like coaching, but instead of trying to bring her into the push method, I'm going to take it a different direction, okay? So what you're saying is, if we could remove all of the doubt and all of the limiting beliefs, and you could just show up as your most powerful and authentic self, if we could get that for you, there's a really good chance, nothing's guaranteed, but there's a really good chance you could get that 30 grand in the next 90 days. You feel that way?
If you removed everything?
Yeah, if I could remove every single doubt that you have, every single limiting belief.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure I can do that, yeah.
I mean, that sounds great. So can I ask you something? If my program could help you do that, what would that be worth to you?
Definitely that amount of money.
It'd be worth 30 grand? Well, fuck, that's so cool because my program is only $10,000. Do you see how that works? Do you see how that was just a coaching session? That wasn't sales. How many of you, when you think of sales, it's Josh on a webinar? And the problem with that, and this is what I need to get a lot better at explaining to you guys, group sales and one-on-one sales is totally different. One-on-one sales is me leaning into exactly what I just did, but instead of taking you to the push method, I literally just ask you, like, if we could remove this, so you think you could get this? Yeah, I feel a lot better about it. Cool, what's that worth to you? It's priceless, like 30,000, like whatever. Cool, that's great news because I have a program and it doesn't cost anywhere near that. So this should be an easy sell, right? So if I'm doing a webinar though, the reality is I have to have had enough of these one-on-one conversations to know what the most given answers are so that I can build a belief bridge based on the answers I know would be happening with these people if I ask the question. Does that make sense? But one-on-one sales is literally, it's just coaching people. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
So if you're a really good coach with like literally a little tiny tweak, you should be the best salesperson in the world. That's what Chelsea is doing. She just got really, really good at coaching you into the offer instead of the push method. Does that make sense? What's that?
Sliver of the heart voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we still did head and heart there. Did you guys hear the head and heart? I mean, I started with the goal so the three things that are needed to make a sale. One is I need to know where they wish they could be, and I need to get them to say it out loud. Very important. I need them consciously aware of what they really wish they could have. Okay? 2, I need them to know where they're stuck. And I need them to be consciously aware of the pain of being stuck. And then 3, I need them to see the gap between the two. And as long as I can fill in the gap, I'm worth a shit ton of money to that person. And sales, like coaching, is all about getting people to a state of like being consciously aware of the fact in one setting. I wish I had this, but I only have this. Oh my God, that's a huge gap. Bad sales only points to where they're at or to where they want to be without putting the two together and creating this gap. The gap is the value. So if the gap is big enough, the value is big enough, the price doesn't matter as much. Does that make sense? But if you can't get all of those things worked together in a conversation, just like, I don't need it that bad.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So stop making sales about you. Stop. It's not about you. It's not about you. Also, I know this is easier said than done, but who cares if they sign up?
You still got practice. You got better.
You got so much better. Mm-hmm. I trust with all of my heart that the right people come in at the right time. And you might be a right person, but this might not have been the right time. Does that make sense?
Let them sit in their shit for a while.
Let them sit in that shit. Because here's what's really powerful. Even if you don't make the sale, they walk away consciously aware of the gap.
Yeah.
And now they're stuck with that gap until they hire someone to fix it. And if you're the one that can fix it, that's why all of you got on so many webinars with me. Does my energy help? Sure, but that's not really what it was. Like, you might like my energy, but the gap is why you kept coming back for more, because every fucking email exposes that gap over and over and over and over and over and over. And good content creation is me just doing that. Good content creation is, you wish you could have this. That's what gets you, yes, I do. But this is where you're stuck. And this is what it feels like to be stuck. This is what it sounds like to be stuck. And here's some life situations you might really be pissed off about because of the fact that you're stuck. There's this big gap. How do we fill the gap? That's what I'm going to be teaching on next week's webinar. Like whatever that is. You know what I'm saying? Like really good messaging is just exposing the goal and where you're at over and over and over and over. Look how much this sucks to be you. Without saying that, of course. Really good sales, just over and over and over, reminds people of how much it sucks to be stuck where they're at. Does that make sense? So that's your mini sales presentation. What I really wanted to do was just give you guys some time to ask your questions, because one little fucking thing leads to a whole presentation that sometimes I forget. And you guys are right. You guys are right. Sometimes I say things in a different way that I've never said it before. Or because I do so many different calls for so many different groups, sometimes a question on one group, like in the Push Elite, got me to answer something a very specific way because of the question. But that not every specific answer can make its way into content, right? So you're right. Sometimes just the right question from the right angle brings out something that's never been said before. So I want to give some space for that before we go hop in the pool for our meditation.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So, do you have any way to have somebody really? I don't know if it's the amount of questions I'm giving somebody, if that's an overwhelming thing, like to create the cocaine promises. Oh. So I, send them over and they just sit there, and I, try to remind them, oh yeah, but then like they don't always bring them back. I don't know. I should just start focusing on just a couple instead of all. Like maybe it just looks like an overwhelming amount of like work on it.
Yeah. Can I get more information from you on the word always?
The last couple times.
No. I just want to
After a coaching call.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, so would you mind if I sent over some?
Wait, after a coaching call?
Yes.
So we're not pitching on the coaching call.
This was before.
That would be the biggest problem. Is there after the coaching call is done and over, sometimes they have a lot to go process, right? And sometimes they need to process that for a couple of days, versus if you pitch on the call, you're catching them in the energy before they've gone into process mode. Not to say that, sometimes they still want to think about it or whatever, but like I really want you to hear all of the details while I have you in this like bubble. If that makes sense, yeah, I don't want to sit it later. But, sorry, go ahead.
Also, if you do send, like, the scripts to try to get some cocaine promises, do you have favorite questions in that?
Like, for the cocaine, like, to get the data, I just use the same ones over and over and over. What are the specific, measurable results you'd want to get? What are the lessons you'd want to learn? What are the things that have turned you off? I just use those over and over and over.
Again, I'm just using, we have a script from somewhere, maybe it's just too word. And it's too much to read after processing through.
I mean, like, you also got to remember, like, this is the one thing I want everyone to remember. Josh has a different brand. I can ask 1,000 people the next 5 seconds if I want to and get 100 responses. You might not be able to access 1,000 people in the next 5 seconds like I can, right? And people might not be as excited to help you create your next content because maybe they haven't been on your last 30 webinars and aren't excited for the 31st. You know what I mean? So sometimes it just takes a little more work, and that's okay. Just like whatever work you got to do, just like what you got to do. But you might get 3 people that respond. Cool. Take those 3 people, mesh them together, and like go for it until you get more response. You know what I'm saying?
Can I share something that's worth?
Of course.
I've been finding, because it's that concept, it's a very different market. I ask one question and I wait for their answer, and then I say like,
cool, love that,
whatever, and then I answer the next.
Yeah.
Because, and this is how my husband texts, you answer the last thing.
Yeah.
And that's it. So then you're only getting like a half.
I love that. I love that. That's great. So my collaboration is beautiful, right? Because I'm teaching a framework, but from a blueprint for a house, like I really wanted the attic turned into an extra office. They didn't know to do that until I told them that I have 2 people that work from home and we need 2 fucking offices. You want to finish out this attic? Yeah, we'll do that. Well, now they have that mixed into what they can offer everybody. They never thought of that before, because who the fuck needs 2 offices? Just weirdos like us.
The world too, right?
Yeah.